Hello everyone, welcome to Options with Doug, streaming live daily on Bookmap Discord and the Bookmap YouTube channel at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Before I get started, I need to go through the disclosures. General disclosure: all Bookmap Ltd materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and options involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Here's my contact information. The best way to get in touch with me is through Discord. My name on Discord is Doug P. Also in Bookmap Discord, there's an Options-Doug chat channel that is a great place to post questions, comments, and content related to the topics of my presentation and the topics of the channel that I'll go through in just a moment. I'm also on X, formerly known as Twitter. My name there is @DougPless. The focus of my presentation today and the focus of the Options-Doug chat channel in Discord is options order flow, the impact of options markets on stocks and futures, and the influence of market maker hedging flow on price action. I have a two-step process for trading, and the first is planning, and I use positional analysis. I look at how traders and market makers are positioned in the options market and how those positions change from day to day to develop a thesis regarding the expected trading range and volatility for the day, as well as the directional bias. And the second step in my process is execution. I look at real-time order flow in Bookmap and real-time market maker hedging flow in Spotgamma Hero to confirm my thesis, and for setups for entries and exits. And when I talk about setups today, I will be talking about an underlying asset, and setups can be taken any number of ways. For example, the S&P 500 setups can be taken with ES futures, SPY shares, SPY options, SPX options, or even ES options. And if there's a particular circumstance where one would be work better than the other, I'll be sure to point that out. Questions and comments are welcome, and I will be watching both the Options-Doug chat channel and Discord, as well as the chat and YouTube for your questions and comments. Please feel free to post, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. Give me just a moment. I need to adjust the resolution on my YouTube stream. Just a reminder, I am streaming in 1080p on YouTube. I needed to adjust my screen to stream at 1080p. It was a little bit lower resolution. So if you're having any difficulty with resolution on YouTube, you can adjust that to 1080p. And hello, Don. Welcome. Glad you're here. All right, here's my agenda for today, Wednesday, December 6th. First of all, I want to go over news items, economic data, and events for today as well as the rest of the week. Then I'll go through my positional analysis. Then I'll review some setups from this morning. And then I'll take a look at the live market. And when I get to the live market, if anyone has any stocks they want me to take a look at, please let me know and I'll be glad to do that. All right, so let's start with news items, economic data and events. So there were a couple of economic data reports this morning. There were a couple of economic data reports this morning. First of all, the ADP employment change data came out at 8:15 a.m. Eastern Time. And let's just take a look at the S&P 500. So that was at 8:15. And then at 8:30, there was also some additional data, labor cost. So the ADP report came out less than expected, less than previous. And then at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, labor cost also lower than expected, lower than previous. So the ADP employment report, again, lower than expected, lower than previous. Labor cost also lower than expected, lower than previous. The initial reaction was bullish, and that changed pretty much right at the cash open. And the S&P 500 has been trending down ever since then. And notice this is the reaction to the 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time data. All right, for the rest of the week, the jobs report comes out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time on Friday. 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time Friday. The monthly jobs report normally comes out at the first Friday of the month. It was pushed back a week, so it'll be this Friday. And then at 10 a.m. Michigan Consumer Sentiment. And so it's been a pretty light week for economic data, and that will pick up next week pretty substantially with CPI data, the FOMC meeting, and also the large December options expiration. And I'll cover more about that next on Monday. All right, so that's news. Now let's take a look at positional analysis. I want to start with the S&P 500. This is the ES futures and Bookmap. Before I take a closer look at this chart, I want to take a look at a larger time frame. So I'm going to go to SPX. This is a 30-day 1-hour chart for SPX. First of all, I want to point out the key turning points on this chart. This is the October 30th. This is the day the rally began, the current rally. On the Friday before, traders were loading up on puts, concerned about weekend risk. And then on Monday, price increased, implied volatility dropped. Market makers could buy back short futures. They sell futures when traders buy puts. They sell the puts. They sell futures. And the market rallied. That continued, leading to a huge IV collapse, put Vanna rally, periods of consolidation. And then this is the November 14th CPI report that came in much better than expected, and price continued to grind higher. Note that the market maker's position on the gamma curve began quite negative on this last day of October, and then has shifted to positive gamma. And you can just tell that from the price action slowing down, more mean reverting price action. Then let's zoom in on the last couple of weeks or so. And note, for the last couple of weeks, SPX has been consolidating in a very narrow range between around 4550 and 4600. So that's the range for the last couple of weeks in a positive gamma environment, leading to more trend days and mean reverting price action. And X Lucero says, screen looks great. Thank you for adjusting. You're welcome. All right, let's take a look at some levels on this chart. First of all, the dashed purple lines are showing the lower and upper weekly expected move. and that's updated once a week. That's based on the options market. I update that over the weekend. And SPX is trading within that range, but toward the lower weekly expected move. Then the dashed blue lines are showing the lower and upper daily expected move. That's also based on the options market. That changes once a day. I update that every day. Today, the expected move for SPX was around plus or minus 21 points. SPX tested the upper daily expected move. We'll see that in just a minute, and has been trending lower ever since then. All right, the dark red lines are showing the Spotgamma levels. These are proprietary Spotgamma levels provided to Spotgamma subscribers for a variety of platforms. I'm going to point out the key daily levels. First of all, here's the put wall at 4,400. That's the strike where the largest net negative gamma that can be expected to act as support. Then above that is the 4,550 level. That's the absolute gamma strike. That's the strike with the largest absolute negative and positive gamma. So that's where most of the gamma-weighted open interest is concentrated. And above that is the volatility trigger at 4,570, and that is Spotgamma's proprietary volatility flip level. Below that level, market makers' position on the gamma curve is negative. In a negative gamma environment, market makers have to trade with price to hedge their delta exposure, and that tends to enhance or increase volatility. On the other hand, above that level, market makers' position on the gamma curve is positive. In a positive gamma environment, market makers have to trade against price to hedge their delta exposure, and that tends to subdue or decrease volatility. Note at the beginning of the day, for SPX, market makers' position on the gamma curve was positive, and now SPX is trading below the volatility trigger, potentially shifting more negative if that move lower continues. And then finally, the call wall is at 4,600. That's a strike with large net positive gamma that can be expected to act as resistance. So those are the key daily levels. Potential ceiling at 4,600, potential floor 4,400, and that would be quite a move down to 4,400 given the, I guess, really the recent consolidation. To get to 4,400, SPX would have to get through 4,550 and 4,500 as well, substantial gamma levels. All right, let's take a closer look at a shorter time frame to take see the levels that are in play for today. So this is SPX. This is about 3.5 days worth of data. The reason I'm showing more data, I want to show first of all, the test of the 4,600 call wall. That was last Friday, and that was the level that acted as resistance, and SPX has traded lower ever since then. And today, this is the cash open today, right here. And note the resistance at the upper daily expected move, and then price continues to trend lower, making a series of lower highs. And here's that 4,570 volatility trigger. After price moves lower, acting as resistance. All right, let's take a look at Bookmap now. So in Bookmap, I have my own cloud notes. So I can show SPX levels. There's the volatility trigger. That's the SPX 4570 volatility trigger. Note there is a difference in price between ES and SPX, and it changes a little bit every day. I post all the index relationships that I use for my charts every day in Discord. And today I'm using ES minus SPX equals 6. So the SPX 4570 level is shown at ES 4576. So I have SPX levels on my chart adjusted to the correct index relationship. Here's this 4576 level noted as resistance in the Spotgamma AM Founders Note. Also the 4590 level also acting as resistance. Then I have SPY levels on this chart. Here's the SPY 4560 gamma level. And it looks like ES is also approaching its lower weekly expected move. All right, so no real clear support and resistance levels. Note that ES did reverse lower right at the cash open, right around this 4590 resistance level, as well as the upper daily expected move. Looks like that most likely will be the high of the day, and the support level, the lower of the day, I guess really yet to be determined. All right, for shifts in levels, just minor shifts in levels for the SP 500, both for SPX and SPY, volatility trigger shifted higher. Again, for SPX and SPY, volatility trigger shifted higher. Otherwise, put walls, call walls, absolute gamma strikes all remain unchanged from yesterday. So just minor shifts in levels for the S&P 500. All right, let's take a look at NASDAQ now. Oops, I realized I just did not hit return when I posted my index relationships in Discord this morning. So there they are in Discord finally. Sorry about that. It's been a busy morning, busy day. All right, here's NASDAQ. And let's take a look, first of all, at QQQ. So we can isolate the QQQ levels in play for today. This is a one-day chart for QQQ, one-day, one-minute chart. And note around this 390 large gamma 1 level, near the high of the day, more or less as resistance. Price moves sharply lower. At the open, cash open, shown in the dark shaded area, making a series of lower highs. Couple of tests of VWAP there, that blue dotted line. Now potentially finding support at the volatility trigger, also the 0 gamma level at 386. So those are the levels in play for today for QQQ. Let's take a look at NDX. Going to zoom in on this. This is the 16,000 large gamma 1 level that has been in play off and on for the last few weeks. Price opened up just below that level. Also moved lower, just like the QQQ, series of lower highs. And here testing the combo level that was also shown on the QQQ chart, as well as the call wall absolute gamma strike at 15,825. So the range today for NDX 16,000 on the upside and the 15,825 call wall absolute gamma strike on the downside. All right, let's take a look at NQ futures in Bookmap. So just like the S&P 500 ES futures, I have my own cloud notes, so I can show NDX levels. There's the 16,000 level. Just below that, the QQQ 390 level. And then here's the 15,825 absolute gamma strike call wall. So I have QQQ levels on this chart, NDX levels, and this is how I look at the both the S&P 500 and NASDAQ in terms for the S&P 500 in terms of SPY and SPX levels, and for NQ in terms of QQQ and NDX levels. So again, here's the high of the day, the 16,390 level, and potentially the QQQ 386 level, as well as the 15,825 level acting as support. And Timothy says, very smooth delivery. Thanks for all the updates. You're very welcome. And can I look at Tesla? I will definitely look at Tesla today. It's on my list of stocks that I want to take a look at. All right, so that is the levels in play for the S&P 500 and NASDAQ. Let's take a look at gamma notional to see how market makers were positioned on the gamma curve at the beginning of the day. This is what I'm going to look at. This information is available in the Spotgamma AM Founders Note, updated once daily. This is gamma notional, market makers' position on the gamma curve for the S&P 500, NASDAQ, and Russell 2000. Note all these numbers are positive. So for an index, Spotgamma assumes that traders are short calls, market makers are long calls in a positive gamma environment, and they have to trade against price to hedge their delta exposure. So again, all these numbers are positive, and there were the shifts up and down the levels were mixed. SPX gamma notional up a little bit from yesterday, and for SPY down a little bit. So at 155, gamma notional for SPY is pretty much neutral. And then for NASDAQ, both the numbers shifted higher, but still pretty close to neutral. And then for the Russell 2000, the numbers shifted slightly lower, but still positive. So overall, the takeaway here is gamma notional for today, at the beginning of the day, is still positive for all these, for the S&P 500, NASDAQ, and Russell 2000. So let's take a look at the Vanna model to get a graphical representation of what that means. This is SPX, the Vanna model. This chart is showing market makers delta notional on the vertical axis, spot price for SPX on the horizontal axis. There are two curves on this chart. The first, the light gray curve, shows how market makers delta notional may change with changes in price only, and then the purple curve shows how market makers delta notional may change with changes in price and applied volatility. And that change in delta notional with the change in applied volatility is the Vanna effect. And note there's a pretty substantial Vanna effect. If price drops, implied volatility increases. This indicates that market makers will have to much more aggressively sell futures, hedge their delta exposure as price drops and implied volatility increases. All right, let's take a look at some prices now. Right now, SPX still very slightly positive for the day, trading right around 45.68. Somewhere right around here where I'm holding my mouse pointer. So this is near the bottom of the curve. So this is showing if market makers delta notional, if price increases, market makers delta notional will increase. They want to remain delta neutral, so they have to sell futures to hedge their delta exposure. On the other hand, if price drops, implied volatility increases, market makers delta notional will increase, and they will have to sell futures to hedge their delta exposure. So whenever traders buy or sell puts and calls in SPY, SPX in this case, market makers hedge that with futures, ES futures. They always want to remain delta neutral. All right, so that's SPX. Again, at the bottom of the curve, SPX, not showing much of a Vanna headwind or tailwind, pretty typical of a positive gamma environment. Let's check it. Check SPY. SPY trading right around 456. Also close to the bottom of the curve. This is showing if price starts to drop, implied volatility increases, market makers will have to start selling futures. And note this V-shaped curve is very typical of a positive gamma environment. Let's take a look at QQQ. QQQ slightly negative for the day, trading right around 387. Also pretty close to the bottom curve, slightly on this portion of the curve that slopes up to the left. So same situation. If price continues to drop, market makers will need to sell futures to hedge their delta exposure. So in the case of QQQ, they will need to sell NQ futures. All right, let's take a look at some setups. So the first thing that I want to take a look at is options trades and market maker hedging activity. All right, let me check for questions. Timothy, you're welcome. And good afternoon. Vihu, welcome. Glad you're here. And I will talk about NVIDIA as well. Let me make a note of that. And we'll take a look at AMD as well. Slotarazi indicates that AMD is presenting information advancing AI. They're introducing a new AI chip today. So we'll take a look at AMD as well. All right, so let's start with the S&P 500. This is the hero signal. This is Spotgamma. This hero signal is available to Spotgamma subscribers. HERO stands for Hedging Impact Real-Time Options. Everything that we've looked at so far other than Bookmap has been based on static data that's updated once a day. So the levels that I've talked about, the Vanna model, this is all based on gamma-weighted open interest. Spotgamma takes open interest data from the OCC, applies their algorithms, comes up with the levels and the information that I use in my planning process. So that's all static data updated once a day. And then this is real-time data. Again, hedging impact real-time options. This is showing price for SPX with the white line. Then the purple line is the hero signal. That's showing options trades and market maker hedging activity for a combined signal for trades in SPX, SPY, XSP, and ES futures. all into one combined signal. A falling purple line indicates traders are taking negative delta positions. Let's zoom in on this chart. This is the cash open right here, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And note from the open, Hero was trending lower, making a series of lower highs. Oops, sorry. Let's take a look at puts and calls to see exactly what traders were doing today. The orange line is showing calls. A falling orange line indicates traders have been selling calls, and then a falling blue line indicates traders are buying puts. So really the clear signal this morning was this falling blue line, which was really driving price, helping to drive price lower. So when traders buy puts, market makers sell the puts, they have to sell futures, ES futures, to hedge their delta exposure. All right, let's go take a look at Bookmap. Go back to ES. Here's the reversal at the cash open. Always look for a potential reversal at the upper daily expected move. That's exactly what happened. Let me just check the time here. So this is the cash open right here, right at this, right where I'm holding my mouse pointer. And an immediate reaction, move lower, some consolidation at the 458 level, SPY 458. Note, large traders were selling this move higher with iceberg orders. That's shown by this falling light blue line. The numbers are not significant. Actually, this one is right here, 3,170 contracts. That is 22 executions. So on this, I'm zoomed pretty far out, so that those executions are consolidated into one number there. So actually, I was wrong initially. There is some pretty large size, 1,148 contracts. So large traders selling that move higher with iceberg orders they use to hide their size. So that's definitely a clue to look for, is large traders selling strength. And then again, price reverses lower right at the cash open. The volume dots are showing market buy minus sell. Green dots indicate more buyers than sellers, and magenta dots indicate more sellers than buyers. And notice large traders continue to sell with iceberg orders. Also, sell stop orders, helping to fuel the move lower. That's shown by the falling yellow line. And then also cumulative volume delta really starts to drop just after 11 a.m. Note iceberg orders, stop orders, cumulative volume delta, all negative. Very bearish day. And we know that options traders were selling calls and buying puts, all indicating a move lower. And ES making a series of lower highs up until about 1 o'clock or so, maybe finding support. It looks like a lot of buyers coming in First of all, around 11:30, that's shown by this liquidity in the heat map, shows a history of the limit orders in the order book, and then a lot of buyers are coming in starting around 1 o'clock, shown by these deep red bands, providing potential support. A lot of buyers there. All right, so definitely a pretty clear short setup this morning. All the clues were here in Bookmap as well as the hero signal. Let's go back and take a look at hero again. Separate out puts and calls. So it now looks like traders may be starting to buy calls, and they have stopped buying puts. Maybe starting to sell puts. So right now it looks like the orange line and the blue line are moving in the same direction. So that is a pretty strong directional signal. So traders are starting to buy calls and sell puts. All right, let's take a look at one other signal. This is the Magnificent 7 combined signal. Pretty choppy today. It provided a lot more clarity yesterday. And let me go back. This is a combined signal also, showing options trades and market maker hedging activity in these stocks known as the Magnificent 7. That's Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, Tesla. And net for the day, notional value is negative, although not very large. That's minus 82.65 million. All right, let's go back. Go back to Bookmap. So again, short setup from the cash open, multiple pullback entries, entries at VWAP, also 458, some consolidation, entry point at 45.76, and then at 45.70. Let's take a look at NASDAQ now, and then we'll get to stocks. So just looking at Bookmap here, potential resistance at 16,390, and then a sharp move lower at the cash open. Aggressive sellers start to come in. Cumulative volume delta for the first first few hours pretty choppy. That's shown by this dark blue line in the subchart. That's cumulative volume delta. But just like S&P 500, large traders selling the move with iceberg orders, they continue to do that. Also sell stop orders, helping to fuel the move lower. And then finally cumulative volume delta also moving down. Multiple tests of VWAP here, good entry points for short. All right, let's go back to Hero. We'll take a look at Hero actually let's just look at this setup for the morning. Really setting up a short at Starting around 9:45, Hero started making a series of lower highs. Price was moving level and then started to move lower. 10 a.m., another retest, 10:15. Much more clear yesterday. And let's go take a look at the NASDAQ signal. Also choppy for the up until about 12:45. Gamma notional was trending positive, still positive for the day. Delta notional. I'm sorry, delta notional for the NASDAQ. Still positive for the day, but now trending down. All right, let's take a look at some stocks. So the first thing I want to take a look at is Amazon. So stocks were really a much easier read today. This is often the case. This is Amazon. Traders taking negative delta positions. Note the very timely flow alert. They came in maybe 5 minutes after the open. That signifies significant options activity. Let's see what traders are doing. So they're selling calls and buying puts. That's shown by the following orange line, the following blue line. Let's go take a look at Bookmap. Take a look at Amazon. Sharp drop in the morning as traders were taking negative delta positions, and looks like Amazon finding some support at the 145 level. Note all the liquidity at that level. Again, the heat map showing a history of orders in the order book. This is pretty typical for a stock. These orders come in just a couple of moments after the cash open, and they typically stay in the order book until they're filled. Note the traders front running the liquidity at 145. It looks like from this chart that Amazon price never actually made it all the way down to 145. All right, so traders taking negative delta positions in Amazon. Let's go back to Hero. So when traders take negative delta positions in a stock, when they sell calls and buy puts, market makers take the opposite side of those trades, and they have to sell stock to hedge their delta exposure. So a pretty clear read here for Amazon. The next, Netflix. I'll go through my list and then we'll take a look at NVIDIA and AMD. Netflix next. Bearish day here in Netflix. Again, pretty timely flow alerts indicating significant options activity, helping to alert you to a potential short. Here's the 450 put wall key gamma strike. Looks like that level is acting as support consolidation level. Let's see what traders are doing. So up until about 11:45, they were selling calls and buying puts. Note both the blue line and the orange line moving in the same direction, very powerful directional signal. Then about 11:30 they start selling puts, and note where they did that at the put wall. At 450 they stop buying puts, start selling puts, and then just maybe 15 minutes later, they take their foot off the gas, they stop selling calls. Now price is consolidating. And this is just the kind of the opposite mirror image of a bullish pattern that occurs quite frequently. The big move occurs in the morning, anywhere between 11 and 12 or so. Options traders take their foot off the gas, price consolidates or moves in the opposite direction. So this is a good point to either sell puts, like traders are doing, sell a put spread, or buy a call spread. And I much prefer the opposite way of buying a put spread or selling a call spread when price increases, because skew is typically on your side. All right, but anyway, this is one case where an options trade might have an advantage. Again, just taking a bullish spread trade. All right, let's go take a look at Bookmap. Let's go to Netflix. Very bearish setup in the morning. Few pullback entries. Here's the 450 put wall key gamma strike. Price does move lower and then comes back and is consolidating around that level. All right, let's take a look at Tesla. Pretty choppy day in here in Tesla. This morning, traders were taking bullish positions in Tesla. Let's take a look at Hero, see what options traders have been doing. So traders were buying calls up until about 12:45, shown by the rising orange line. Whoops. Sorry about that. I thought this issue had been resolved. All right, so when we separate out puts and calls, this gives a little bit more clarity. So traders net were buying calls up until about 12:45. They take their foot off the gas and price moves lower. During this time, not doing much with puts, and then they start buying puts. So starting right around 12:45, both the orange line and blue line are moving in the same direction. Very powerful directional signal, and Tesla is responding, moving lower. Let's go take a look at Bookmap. And here is where, actually let me zoom in just a little bit. Here's that sharp reversal at 12:45. So you can see at the same time as traders started taking negative delta positions, selling calls and buying puts, aggressive sellers came in and started moving Tesla lower. All right, let's take a look at NVIDIA, then we'll get to AMD. So NVIDIA, just kind of the opposite of yesterday. NVIDIA was rallying yesterday, and just the opposite today. Let's take a look at, and I posted a setup for NVIDIA yesterday evening. Posted that in Discord and on YouTube. I mean on Twitter, X. Or let's go take a look at Hero. Go to NVIDIA. Separate out puts and calls. So really it has been call sellers driving price today in NVIDIA. That's shown by the falling orange line. Note the notional value here for calls minus 123.5 million versus puts. They are buying puts minus 20.2. So call buyers, call sellers, much more aggressive driving price in NVIDIA today. All right, let's take a look at AMD. So as Sotorazi points out, AMD did have an event today. I don't know if that's still going on or not. Let's take a look at AMD. All right, so far the day today, AMD, like everything else, is moving lower. Just kind of the opposite of yesterday. So that might have been like a one-day event. Is traders coming in and buying the Mag 7 stocks. Pretty choppy hero signal. Let's see if separating out puts and calls helps. Not too much. So traders are selling calls and selling puts. So they're really just selling volatility in AMD. Sorry about that. And interesting divergence right around 1 o'clock. Traders start selling puts more aggressively. They also start selling calls. Let's go back to the total signal. Let's go take a look at Bookmap. All right, so not a very positive reaction to AMD's announcement today. AMD making a series of lower highs all day. And hello, Floyd's Garage. Welcome, glad you're here. Ryan asked about NEO. All right, I don't have NEO in Bookmap, but we can take a look at NEO in Hero. It should be there. Let's see what options traders are doing. All right, so NEO moved up past its call wall at 8 today. Maybe up just a little bit above 8. And now as options traders have taken their foot off the gas right around 10:45, 11, price is moving lower as they start taking negative delta positions, now back below the call wall that's shown by this line right there. All right, Ryan, there you go. There's NEO. Anyone else have any stocks they want me to take a look at? Now's the time. I'll be glad to do that. Otherwise, we'll go back to the S&P 500. And you're welcome, Ryan. So the hero signal still making a series of lower highs. So net for the day, traders continue to take negative delta positions. Although that is leveling off somewhat. Let's go take a look at Bookmap. Go back to the S&P 500. So ES is still above all this liquidity in the order book that remains in the order book, all those limit buy orders, right around 462 to 465, also right at the SPY 455 absolute gamma strike. Right, today the 10-year yield continues to move lower. I've got the 10-year futures at 4.119. Let's check VIX. VIX also lower for the day, so kind of interesting. We can take a look at that. Here's the last couple of days for VIX. VIX down at 12.76. Let's take a look at the 10-year. This is the yield for the 10-year Treasury notes. Also continues to move lower. Should be a tailwind for stocks. Also lower on the day. All right, Slow Tarazi says IM might have been bearish with options today. We'll take a look at that. And so sorry I've been butchering your name. I hope I'm closer to getting it right. All right, let's take a look at Hero for at IWM. All right, so negative. Sharp move higher in the morning. Options traders stop taking positive delta positions, start taking negative delta positions, and IWM moves lower. Let's see what they're doing. So in IWM, traders are currently selling calls. They net for the day, selling calls and buying puts. Notion of value for the blue line and the orange line, both negative. And interesting, this sharp drop here, these vertical lines indicating large block orders, typically institutional orders. Large tranches of calls being sold. Let's check the Mag 7. Still also negative for the day. Check the NASDAQ signal. Trending down, but still positive for the day. Let's go back to Bookmap. Remember, gamma notional is still positive in a positive gamma environment, not looking for large trending days. So it looks like this 15,825 may be holding as support. All right, Ryan wants to take a look at Zoom. Let's take a look at Zoom. I don't have that in Bookmap. We can take a look in Hero here. So actually a bullish day here in Hero. The notional value pretty small, but traders are taking positive delta positions. It looks like some kind of large order just came in right around 2:30, and Zoom trading above its call wall at 70. That's also the key gamma strike. Let's go back, one final look at the S&P 500. All right, so still in consolidation mode. All right, Ryan, I'm glad your calls are looking good. All right, everyone, I want to thank you for watching. I got a little bit of a late start, a couple minutes late, so I'm went a little bit over today. So I need to wrap it up today. I want to thank everyone for watching. Thank you very much, especially on YouTube and Discord, for your questions and comments. And I will see you tomorrow. Thanks again. Bye.